When you get the flu, you peel your knee or a mosquito bites you, an inflammatory process is triggered in response to the harmful stimulus that causes chemicals to be released to repair the damage and promote the healing process. Acute inflammation is a vital defense mechanism for health because it protects us when the immune system detects something foreign in our body. However, when the inflammation becomes chronic, it can favor the onset and progression of certain diseases, such as cardiovascular and autoimmune diseases, diabetes, and arthritis. If you want to fight inflammation, you have to start with the shopping list, reducing the consumption of those foods that increase the levels of inflammatory markers. In the last video instead, which you can find by clicking here above, we saw some foods that you should include in your diet because they have anti-inflammatory properties. Nutrition is considered a modifiable risk factor for chronic diseases associated with systemic inflammation. Let's look at some foods that promote inflammation. Refined carbohydrates and added sugars. Excessive consumption of refined carbohydrates, such as bread, pasta, and rice, and added sugars, such as those found in sweets, snacks, pastries, fizzy drinks, and candies, as well as promoting the accumulation of body fat, can be a key factor that contributes to chronic inflammation. This is because a factor is activated in the immune cells that causes them to produce inflammatory substances, such as cytokines. A high-sugar diet leads to excess production of what are called advanced glycation end products, harmful macromolecules that form when proteins or fats combine with blood sugars. If their levels are high, they cause oxidative stress and inflammation. Consuming too much sugar can promote inflammation within the endothelial cells that line the blood base, which is a risk factor for developing heart disease. The World Health Organization recommends consuming a quantity of added sugars not exceeding 10% of the total daily calories. To have further benefits, the World Health Organization always recommends reducing free sugars to 5% of the total energy intake. Saturated fatty acids. Saturated fats are fatty acids found in numerous foods we put on the table every day and are known to be harmful to health, especially the cardiovascular system. Some of these are the fats of meat and derivatives, butter and fatty cheeses, fried foods of all kinds, sausages, wurst and salami, but also some vegetable oils, such as coconut and palm oil. According to some studies, excessive consumption of saturated fat could make a person more prone to inflammation and tissue damage. High levels of saturated fat in the blood would appear to attract more monocytes, a type of white blood cell, which thus pass from the blood to the tissues of vital organs, worsening ongoing inflammation. Trans fatty acids. Trans fatty acids are unsaturated fatty acids that belong to that category known as bad fats. They are obtained from an industrial process called hydrogenation, which allows transform polyunsaturated fatty acids into more solid fats. They thus become spreadable and with a longer shelf life, guaranteeing considerable savings to the producer. Industrial products contain many trans fatty acids, and in fact tend to cost less because their production costs are lower. Among the foods rich in trans fats, we find spreads, snacks, fast food foods, but also fries, cakes, and packaged biscuits. Several studies have linked the consumption of trans fatty acids with increased inflammation. In particular, there has been an increase in C-reactive protein, a protein produced by the liver, that is released into the blood following inflammation. Furthermore, trans fatty acids also increase the levels of bad cholesterol and damage the endothelium, that is the inner lining of the blood vessels, thus increasing the risk of onset of cardiovascular disease. The World Health Organization recommends reducing the intake of trans fatty acids to below 1% of the total calories consumed daily. One of the goals of the World Health Organization is to eliminate trans fatty acids from industrial foods by 2030. This choice could therefore save approximately 17.5 million lives over the next 25 years and reduce the impact of cardiovascular events on the global health system. Alcohol. Alcohol and inflammation go hand in hand, especially if you consume high amounts of alcohol and for long periods of time. It is an extremely harmful habit for your health that causes inflammation of some organs, such as the pancreas, liver, heart, and brain, but also the mouth and various parts of the digestive tract. It also increases the risk of developing certain diseases and cancers. Alcohol causes changes in the composition of the gut microbiota by altering the balance between good and bad bacteria. This results in an increase in chemicals called endotoxins, which activate the proteins and immune cells that promote inflammation. Furthermore, the intestinal barrier is destroyed and is no longer able to block the bacteria and toxins that have infiltrated the bloodstream, and therefore can spread freely throughout the body. There are no alcohol consumption thresholds, even if very low, which can be considered safe for health. Stopping drinking alcohol completely helps reduce inflammation and likely live longer. Salt. Sodium contained in traditional salt is an important mineral that your body needs to perform certain functions, such as transmitting nerve impulses and regulating pressure, blood volume, and muscle contraction. Taking too much salt will overload the work of the kidneys and increase the sodium levels in the blood. There is much evidence to suggest that a salt-rich diet is associated with higher biomarkers of inflammation and may help increase the anti-inflammatory response in patients with autoimmune diseases such as rheumatoid arthritis and systemic lupus erythematosus. The World Health Organization recommends consuming less than 5 grams of salt per day, which is equivalent to 1 teaspoon.